Welcome to the Kayak Fishing Obsessed podcast. We'll be sitting down with a fresh guest each week. Someone who shares the same kayak fishing passion that runs through our veins. We're talking kayak anglers, kayak companies, lure experts. Heck, anyone who's got a story to tell about landing the big ones from a kayak. We're setting our sights on becoming the #1 kayak fishing podcast in the world. You'll get a chuckle, a grin, and hey, maybe even a belly laugh. Because we believe in the power of humor. But above all, we're here to educate and inspire. So, whether you're a seasoned kayak angler or just dipping your toes into this exhilarating world, join us on the Kayak Fishing Obsessed podcast. It's time to reel in adventure, camaraderie, and the joy of the catch. Here's your host, Darren Windle.
Hey, you fish freaks. Welcome to episode number 130 of the Kayak Fishing Obsessed podcast. Tonight, we've got a guest who brings a really unique experience to the show because he's not just a Bassmaster Elite Series pro. He's also the man behind Missile Baits. We got John Cruz in the house. There's a lot of pro anglers out there. There's a lot of bait companies, but it's a completely different thing when the guy designing the baits is the same guy betting his paycheck on them in the tournament. So we're going to be diving into confidence baits, simplicity, and what anglers get wrong when choosing lures. And big shout out to the sponsor of the show, Dark Horse Tackle. Got another box today, Wyatt.
What do we got?
What we got today?
That looks like a spinning rod stuff. I don't know about that one.
This one, it is a spinning rod. It's like the last one. We got a perfect pairing right here. So this is going to be the Jig Master's Perfected Nethead again. And this is going to be the Crocogator Shorty. So I mean, this is really great for me when the ice melts off. I catch them like crazy, right?
I've got Cayuga later this year. I might have to borrow some of those.
You know what? Got plenty of them. Plenty of them. So, Wyatt, how you been, brother? You doing all right?
Doing all right. I've got been working this whole week. So I got to pay for this fishing. Got to pay for all this time off I take.
If you keep on taking all this time off, you're not going to have a job. You're going to have all the time in the world. I love it. I love it. We'll see.
Not the worst thing.
Yeah. Well, guys, this past week, 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, we launched K-Fast. It is live. We have had over 500 hours consumed of training, safety training, which is getting a lot of great feedback. I already get some feedback in the comment section. So excited about that. That all aside, let's go ahead and bring the man, the legend, John Cruz. Welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
What's up, man? Appreciate you guys having me on. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's good to have you. I think you might be the first pro on the show in 130 episodes. So
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
I'm just a weirdo. Like, and I hope that you don't think that like all these pro anglers are, better than everybody else. Because like vast majority, a bunch of good dudes.
I love it. I love it. Well, I am curious as I have people kind of get to know the person behind it, and a lot of people know your accolades and like probably. I mean, I walked into your office about a month ago. And I was like, wow, there are a lot of trophies up in here. And so, congratulations on what you've been able to do there. But I am curious, at what point in your life did you realize you could actually make a living fishing?
When I was in college, I was trying to figure out exactly what I was going to do after college, and I really thought about it, and I said, either I can try to start a career and then also fish at the same time,
Right.
in which I thought that I would do two things half-assed, or if I could just go all in on the fishing thing, just live at home, keep expenses low. I was going to be on the road most of the time anyway, and that's exactly how I did it. For the first 3 years or so, I just basically lived at home, but I was on the road 200 plus days a year, so it really didn't matter.
Wow, that's living the dream.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty. Like, I've heard that story from. I want to say I've heard that story from like I think Ike and Skeet were traveling together for a long time, man.
Yeah, this was early on. This was the original Little John right here. It was the pond in the backyard. Catching Sabine River bass on little pop bars there. It was actually I think it was a tiny hula popper that I caught that on.
Gotta love that hula popper.
Yeah.
I find the lifestyle of professional bass anglers fascinating. And what are some misconceptions you would say that people have of you kind of mentioned a little bit earlier in the show, hey, just because we're pro, we're just a bunch of dudes. But yeah. I'm curious because in a lot of people's eyes, you're larger than life. And so
for doing it for 20 some years, 25 years plus, in order to make a long career at it, I feel like that you've got to hustle in all the aspects in order to make a living at it. Like this coming weekend, I'm going to be at Bucks Island Marine. They're a supporter of mine, and I try to generate as much business for them. And they're a bass cat dealer. They're also a missile baits dealer, but they're also a mercury dealer and everything else. Really good people. They're down in Alabama. They have a great dealership there for a long time. They have a big fish fest. I'll be down there this Saturday. It's part of my agreement with them. I got to run down there and do that thing and talk with people, show them all the new baits, and talk about the bass boats and do everything. So you got to hustle in order to stay in the game. You can't, if you can just run around and fish, that's a good way to not have any support out there on the road.
Yeah. And I'm sure you've seen people come and go, because there's really not just the person out there who just fishes and lives off tournament.
I don't know what the average career length is. Now, that's a really interesting question. I'm gonna try to see if I can get somebody to look it up and find out, because like in the NFL, the average career is only 4 less
3-4 years. Yeah,
it's like 2.5 years or something. Because you have to get 4 years of a player to be vested with their union and everything. But for a bass fisherman, I bet you it's no longer than 4 years.
Really?
For the average career, so to be able to do it more than 10 or 15 or 20 years, I think the common trait is that, you guys hustle. Like Mark Menendez is going to be down there this weekend. He's a hustler, man. He's working all the shows and doing everything, providing value to the people that support him, and they make. I want to be the easiest check that anybody ever writes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Wyatt and I actually having this conversation. I was like, Wyatt, you'd be hard pressed. Everybody who's doing fishing and it seems like they're doing it for a living are hustling, and they're stacking revenue everywhere that they possibly can, because no one's just living off of tournament winnings, right?
Yeah.
You can't win at that rate with the competition out there.
Unless your last name is Van Dam, you're not just.
I would say even him.
He was one of the most well-paid, endorsement guys out there. But in my opinion, he was only getting maybe half of what he was really worth. He was the needle mover for 20 years.
So you're doing the full time before missile baits. How are you making it work? I guess when did missile baits come online, or has it always been something that you kind of tinkered with?
So I've been fishing full time for 25 plus years, and Missile is turned 14 years old this year. And Missile is really just a supplement, and it provides a lot of extra value to pretty much every fishing industry sponsor, including Bass Cat, including Mercury, but of course Spro and Gamakatsu and Sunline, all those companies that I've been with for a long time. Being that I work with Missile, now I'm entrenched in the industry. I'm talking to the main buyer from Bass Pro Shops or Walmart or even just smaller tackle shops like Green Top or McKee Outdoors in Tennessee. And like I said, I'm going to be at Bucks Island this weekend. I'm going to be up at the Ohio River Outdoors Expo the following weekend and be with another dealer of ours, the Ohio River Outdoors. Up there with them. So I mean, it's just like, you gotta keep it rolling. You're always involved with it. And so not only am I helping, is it good for Missile, but it's good for all the companies that I'm associated with, Cash and Rods, Seven Reels. Yeah. Like I'm talking with all these dealers about all of that stuff, on a weekly basis.
Yeah. Keep your ear to the ground to the next what's the next thing out there? Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And then, I talk with the people from, whether it's Seven or Cash, and they're like, hey, have you talked to Doug over there at this? Oh, you talked with Todd over here? No, I haven't. Oh, yeah. Call him and tell him I told him to call you. And that stuff really helps out other companies that I'm involved with. I feel like it's a huge advantage over a lot of other pro anglers.
Are you ever not busy? Because you got the tournament trails, you got the fishing, actual fishing, that you got running your own business, and then you got all these, sponsorship responsibilities. And I'm sure you love to do all of them, but you also family. I mean, my gosh, that's a lot to juggle, my man.
Yeah. When you have a lot going on, a lot of people have a lot going on. Yeah. I never feel like I'm the only one, but I feel like that when you do have a lot of stuff going on, you have to make sure that you have everything in priority and that you operate by your priorities, not by what's in front of you, because I'm like the world's worst at it. So I have to just really keep in front of me what's the most important, like what's the, God, family, career, like in that order. And as long as you keep that kind of stuff in order, you're good.
Yeah. I remember last week we talked to Heath, and he was saying the same thing. He tried to put everything all at once, and it burned him out really, really quickly. And just kind of he had to actually take a year or 2 years and step back and from everything, actually just get everything. This is priority number one. This is number two. This is number three. This is where I'm going to put my effort. This is where we're going to.
Yeah. Right. I mean, I feel like the biggest disadvantage for me in having so much stuff going on and so many obligations is that I don't get a chance to go out and try a lot of the newer techniques and a lot of the newer lures and things like that and really get good with them. I mean, I feel like I'm still 1 to 2 years behind the guys that are really good with live scope. And I feel like I'm really catching up now. Like I don't feel like that. Okay, it's a pure live scope tournament. I'm not at a disadvantage. Oh, wait a minute. I'm not good with a koiki ball, and I just got my teeth kicked in by this 20-year-old kid right here, Fisher and I mean, absolutely goat roped me and the rest of the field and made a laughing stock of us with this with the koiki and fuzzy dice style bait. I'm sorry.
That's when you're supposed to break out the grub and show them how it's done 25 years ago.
Dude, that was pretty kick-ass with that. Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I have to go to old school techniques. I like how Hank went backwards. He's like, I'm not going newer techniques. I'm going older techniques, and I can still, kick your teeth in, which he.
So after tournaments, do you have time to do like postmortems? Do you take a time to look at what other people were fishing and so forth and so on and watch video? Or you're like, I don't have that much margin in my life.
It kind of depends, man. Like after Martin, I was really pissed, honestly, because I felt like I developed multiple good patterns. I felt like I executed really well. I didn't lose a single fish. I caught almost 40 fish both days. I didn't get the right kind of bites.
Yeah.
As far as the size, so that was really frustrating, and I was a little perturbed about that. But I rifled home, and then it was Valentine's Day, and I went out with my wife for just a little bit, and spent some time with the family. And then that Sunday, I woke up and I was still pissed off, and so I was watching live and following everything, and trying to figure out exactly what all I missed. I talked to some of my buddies on the way home, with Brian Schmidt and stuff, and we licked our wounds together.
What did you miss? What'd you come up with?
We don't know. That's why I was still missing.
I mean, that's so you're still pissed, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and so they caught them. Yeah, they caught them all over the lake. So it wasn't like, oh, all the guys were down there in this one arm. That's not really how it was. I will tell you one brief thing. The first day I fished in the same area that Brock Mosley was fishing. We looked at each other a couple different times, and it's not that big of an area. So the second day, I didn't know that I didn't know where he caught his fish, but I knew he was in there a good bit. So the second day I went in there, fished for not even less than an hour, maybe like 40 minutes. And then we kind of worked back close to each other. And before we even got close, I just picked the trolling motor up and left, because he was leading by a mile on the first day. And it's just not that big of an area. So I was like, man, I can catch other fish other places. And so I went and did that. I mean, maybe I could have been an a-hole and just battled him, and maybe I'd have a little higher finish, and maybe he wouldn't have finished second. But he would do the same for me. And I've had a lot of people be very gracious to me over the years. And so if somebody's got a chance to win, man, that's rare. And Brock's finished second a bunch, and he was in contention. I mean, right out of the gate with a 15-pound bag on day one. Like you're kind of in the driver's seat.
Yeah. No, White and I we were talking about this last week. How if you're in the running and you're like, I'm just going to leave that area. The other guy left the area for you because
Jake's in the comments a little bit ago. He started on my spot, and he just drifted off of it and left it by a couple hundred yards. And I swung out there, and the school of fish was there. And then he came up, like we were talking on the way back. He's like, I'm going somewhere else, man. He's like, you got a shot at this. So there's people out there. It's awesome.
That's cool. Yeah. I mean, that's what, like, a lot of the marshals that we have, they're really intrigued by how we interact on the water, because they expect like fireworks and people to be like, dude, this is you gotta get off of it.
Keith Pochet moment from a couple years ago. Was that it?
Which one?
Was it the Keith Pochet where he pulled the trolling motor up and said, I'm going home? He's like, I got work to do.
I don't know. Pochet's had his run-ins. I fished around Pochet a handful of times, like close. Like we shared the same water. We never had any problems. It's just, some people you just have to earn their respect, and then respect them, and they'll respect you, and you can work together. It's not a problem, man. I've done it a ton. Like one of the times I know that I was fishing in the same area, and I was talking with Bill Lowen. And then we fished, like we're fishing the same water. And I was like, man, I was like, I just really want this back corner over here. And he's like, all right, cool. Cause I really would rather prefer that other side. I'm like, all right, yeah, man, how about it? We fished our stuff. And then I was like, man, you mind if I come back through there? And he's like, no, go ahead. So anyway, my marshal later was like, man, I never thought y'all would be like that. I was like, dude, I watched his kids grow up. Like when he came on tour, his kids weren't even born. And I've watched them since they were babies, and now they're like older, like mid to old teenagers. And like his wife tells me, good luck, John, every morning that I go through boat check, every morning. I was like, you think I'm going to be a dick to this guy? He's like one of my good friends. Like, no, I'm not going to do that.
I imagine people assume that what they see, which gets a lot of attention on social media, what it's like all the time. And that's the minority, not the majority, I am sure.
Yeah. I mean, there's a few people that don't get very long of a leash because they don't give a long leash. But those are in the minority, and dude, we don't have very many of them left on the elites, to be honest with you. And a lot of the younger anglers, like the Fisher Anayas, like the Easton Fothergills, Tucker Smith, all those younger guys, man, are very respectful. not of like old farts like me, but they were very respectful of each other. They just don't. They're a little bit different, man. They're a little bit more laid back, but dude, they will stomp on your throat as far as the tournament goes. They don't hold back on the fish catching. That's for sure.
I love it. Well, if you guys have a question for John, go ahead and throw that, or Wyatt or myself, throw that in the comment section. I'm trying to keep an eye on it as we kind of enter into conversation. Let's circle back a little bit, John. I'm curious about when you decided missile baits. Like, was there a problem that you saw in the soft plastic market? And you're like, hey, I need to fix this. Or you're like, hey, I just need to supplement and I got some ideas.
Well, really from day one, as fishing as a professional, I mean, like before I even finished college, I knew that the tournaments were going to open the door for something else within the fishing world. And early on, the only thing that I could really have access to and see was TV shows, like the Hank Parkers, Bill Dances, the Jimmy Houstons, all those guys did it because they spawned out of the tournament, started this, and then made a name for themselves even bigger. Roland Martin, same thing. And so I didn't know if that was going to be my avenue. And then like the first year of fishing full time, TV show is not going to be my deal. I can just tell you that right now. It's not going to be what I want to do. I'm not doing that. And so I fished for, 5, 6, 8 years, very involved in the tackle industry. I loved crankbaits. I loved fishing, all kind of handmade crankbaits. I wanted to know what made them do what. And, I loved all of that stuff. Then 20 years ago, I started a relationship with Spro. I came on and helped them design the Little John crankbait. Like I drew it out.
I've caught some fish on that thing now.
Told them exactly what I wanted, and we figured out how to get that little weight transfer system dialed into it. And there, lo and behold, we started with that. After about 5 years of that, I loved that process of designing lures, promoting the lures, testing them, and making sure they're just right before they go to market, all that kind of stuff. And I thought, man, I want to do this in soft plastics because Spro at the time was all hard baits. I was like, man, I want to do this for soft plastics. And I had 2 options to do it with other companies, and I decided not to. I wanted to do completely my own thing, and I'm glad I did. So that was 14 years ago, and here we are, just still designing baits. Man, we've got about 5 or 6 different projects in the works right now, trying to refine those and get them to market. Just a lot of I don't know. I love that. I think it's cool.
Yeah. What's the gestation period from like idea to available to the market?
It really depends on the bait and what you're doing, but because it could be anywhere from, I think on the low end, maybe 6 months at the fastest. But
that's quick.
Average is probably a year to a year and a half.
Okay.
It's probably the average. And then some of them has been as much as two years plus before they hit the market.
Wow. How many do you end up scrapping along the way?
That's what I was curious with.
A lot, really?
Yeah, I mean, I do a lot of drawings of stuff, and then I go, man, in my head that looks cool, and it looks like, whipped cream dog crap, paper.
You ever got something like almost ready to go to market and you end up scrapping it?
Oh yeah, I've done that.
Tell us the story. Tell us the story.
Yeah, that's what I just want to know. Like, what's the favorite one that you've had?
Let me try to think of. I've had some with Spro that we kind of went that direction, but Spro is interesting because they would always tell me because they would say, "Do you love it? Is it exactly what you want?" And if I say no, and then they're like, "Well, then make it exactly what you want."
Okay.
All right. So they're really good about pushing back on me even to make it perfect, and so that's kind of the mentality I've tried to take to missile. With the D-bomb, I probably went through about 7 versions before I got it exactly how I wanted it, and that was one of the very first baits we did. The very first bait. That was one of the first 5 we did. We started the company with 5 baits and 8 colors. We had 40 SKUs. That was one of them. And I went through 7 versions, I believe it was, to get that 6 or 7. I think it was 7 before we got it right.
John, this
It's like
is
what?
unbelievable. I don't use any other trailer now. Like literally, I just use a D-bomb, and if I want, I usually end up cutting it down a little bit.
Yep.
And that flutter of these two flaps
Yep.
is just insane. There's not
So-
many crawls that will do that.
So if you want to dig deep a little bit, if you're flipping wood,
Yeah.
and it's like more sparse, and you want the D-bomb to kick more, pull those little side appendages off,
These
and,
guys?
and so it's just
More
rib
water
body,
flow.
and then the thin flappers. Yeah, pull those off, and then the tails will kick more when you pull it through the water.
I've never
So
really
that's
thought
a
about
little trick. Dude, one of my pro staff members, I won't mention his name because he's not with Missile anymore. Still a good friend. He put me on that tip, and that is slick.
Wyatt, you
Huh.
throw the D-bomb. I know you have your favorite, but
So the golden amber D-bomb is absolute favorite one ever made. I have bags and bags and I mean I have 20 like packs and packs of the
Oh, yeah,
black and blue and
25
green
packs.
pumpkin, but that green
Yeah.
the golden amber is like the most perfect Alabama craw color I found without being like too gaudy on the orange.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, that thing is nasty, man. And the same pro that gave me that tip, he actually still fishes the golden amber missile crawl. We don't even make the missile crawl anymore, but him and another pro angler talked Tackle Warehouse into making a special run of that and a couple other colors, just so they could have like a lifetime supply of that color.
that's awesome.
Man,
Yeah.
I need it in a little baby D-bomb. That's why.
Ooh, that would be a good one. As far as all the colors go with the D-bomb, the golden amber is probably in the middle,
Okay.
maybe a little above the middle, but it's not a top seller, but it's not a bottom seller.
Yeah, I feel like when more people like see it in their hand, they would realize it's really a lot more subtle than what it looks like, and it's perfect.
So when it comes to colors, this is always fascinating to me. And secondary question, does it matter across your whole, all your SKUs? What's your most popular colors and what are the least popular? I'm curious. Obviously, probably green pumpkin, black and blue are like leading the pack. I'm guessing. I don't know.
It depends on the bait. The baits that you flip and pitch, definitely more of the natural colors. So in the D-bomb, the Superbug is number one color.
Mhm.
Bruiser Flash is like in the same stratosphere, but a little bit behind.
Mhm.
And then Green Pumpkin is number 3, and I have to check to see what number 4 is currently.
Okay.
But it probably Candy Grass. I know Candy Grass was at one time. It may have fallen back a few places, but Alex is our inventory specialist now. He's been that for a couple of years, and he could probably tell you that, right? Like the top 10 right off the top of his head.
I like it. It was interesting. I was looking at something on your website right before the show, and you basically have this leaderboard, your big bass records on missile baits. I
Mhm.
want to bring this up because I think this is fascinating. All right. So what you can quickly see on here is your baby D-bomb, 12 pounders, 7 pounders, but your D-bomb is the bait that catches the biggest fish
100%.
on
see
your
that
board.
Seth Fider picture on there?
Say what?
You see that Seth Fider picture on there?
Oh, I didn't see. Oh, yeah, here it is, 13.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
That's
With
still
no
his
hair.
PB.
Really? From the
Yeah, he sent that to me when we were doing that, and I was like, "Dude, could we put that on the website?" He's like, "I don't give a shit."
14, 13, 12, 12, 5, 11.
Dude, I know of four 14s that have been caught. We have pictures of the ones that are on there, but I know of multiple others that we couldn't get pictures for that were over 14.
What do you mean you couldn't get pictures for it? Everyone knows everyone takes pictures of 14-pound bass. What's going on?
Well, some you don't have the rights to.
Oh, got it.
One was caught in Florida. We didn't have the rights to it because these people submit it and give us the permission to put it on there. And then another one was in California. It was actually one of the employees of Tackle Warehouse, and they didn't want to send the picture because they didn't want people knowing where they were fishing.
Oh, all right. There you go. got AI now. You can just change the background. All right, so you got D-Bomb bringing in your biggest bass. What would you say second is? Baby D-Bomb? That's it.
As far as the submissions on the
lure.
thing, yeah, Baby D-Bomb. Like Morgan Taylor, I think has a 12 or something on there. His personal best came on the Baby D-Bomb.
All right, let's go down.
Yeah,
This is kind of fun to me.
I'm gonna tell you right now,
Bomb.
the big bait of our entire lineup is the Destroyer. That is the big fish catchingest soft plastic I think I've ever thrown.
Really? Is that on here? Am I getting to it?
It's a monster bait. Yeah.
I had I'm friends with Randy Van Dam, Kevin's brother. He owns the DNR Sports up there in Kalamazoo.
Oh yeah, I used to live in Kalamazoo.
He so Randy he goes to Mexico, I think every year. He's done it for years and years. And it's probably like, I don't know, at least 6 or 8 years ago, maybe longer than that. He called me one time. He's like, "Hey John, we need to get some more of those Destroyers. I just came back from Mexico and I took like 3 bags of them down there and we smashed the big fish on it, more like just way more than everything else." So then they he actually had them some overnighted from DNR, and they caught more, so they could smash some more on down there, and so they had to replenish everything. And he said everybody that he was telling that was going to Mexico, he's telling, you got to have that bait, man. It's the big fish bait, man. I'm telling you.
I like it. I didn't see it on the Big Bass Records. Did I miss it?
The regular Destroyer?
Yeah.
Maybe I should put a bunch of mine on there. I could put a bunch of them on there.
There you go. All right, let's head back. We're on your website now. Let's go ahead and before we go snooping through your website, because I'm fascinated here, I got some questions over here for you from those listening in. Got a new member. Thank you, Bon Joey 99. Appreciate that. Kayak Jack, my man, asking John, how often does John throw the Nico rig?
I love it.
Loves the Nico rig. Absolutely loves it.
I love it, dude. I've been a big fan of it for a number of years. And I think you really need to kind of understand its place. It kind of has a couple different ways that you can use it. And like last week, we were at Lake Martin, a lot of spotted bass, and the way I was using it is mostly the way I was using it was that I would find a brush pile that looked like it had a fish or two in it. Sometimes you could see them, and sometimes you couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
I'd throw the Nico rig. It's actually Neko rig, but
right.
Everybody calls it Nico, so I'm okay with either way. I was throwing our little quiver with a 16th ounce weight, so it could get down there. And then when I got it just above the brush pile, I would start shaking it, so it would kind of just quiver or hover over top of the brush pile, just real slow. Like, dude, you'd see them just come up out of there. And a lot of them would come up out of there and then just, eat it immediately.
Right.
But if they would come up there, you just keep shaking it until you get it away from the brush pile and get the fish away from the brush pile. And then you just free fall it and let it go to the bottom. Yeah. And a lot of times they'd follow it down to the bottom and then eat it off the bottom.
Interesting.
So that was kind of the technique I was using there. But I thought that you like put it on the bottom and then shook it around, but it's really, really good. I feel like in the middle of the water column, because you can really keep it in one place if you do it right. And it's very much a finesse technique. And funny story about the Neko rig is that probably 20 years ago in I think it was the very first Elite Series event, maybe 21 years ago now. I think it was Hideki, one of the Japanese guys that has designed a ton of lures, came over. I believe it was Hideki, if I'm not mistaken. Don't hold me to that, but either way, he came over and that's exactly what he was using. He was using a Zoom swamp crawler, small one, at Lake Amistad, and catching 5 and 6 pounders like at will. In open water, just firing it out there with a real light nail weight in it, and then holding it, like you count it down, and then you just kind of shake it and reel it real slow. And then next thing you know, I got another one. So that was my first exposure to the Neko rig, and I thought that was really, really cool.
Yeah, that's not how I fish Nico Neko rig either. So that is and
Neko means cat in Japanese. That's what it means. Cat. It's like meow.
Yeah.
All right, meow.
All right. Cat rig. Why is it called a cat rig?
What?
Why cat rig?
Yeah.
Because when you pull it, if it's on the bottom and you kind of pull on it, it looks like a cat, hunching its back up. 100. That's why they call it.
You just made that up. I'm gonna go with it.
Dude, Google that.
Not Google.
Google it, man. I'm telling you.
I need someone out there to Google it. Tell me what John is saying is
100%.
true.
That
He's
goes
making
means
stuff
cat.
up on
Japanese.
the spot. Oh my gosh.
What do you think? Do you know what Cinco means in Japanese? While we're at it,
Look, school us all.
dildo. No, okay, I did make that up. I did make that up. Cinco means lightning or like a flash of light.
Wow. This is a learning experience for me. I don't know about you, Wyatt.
Yeah. I say no idea. No
I'm
idea.
full of useless information that pays me no money. Yeah.
No, this is great. This is really great. All right, that was from Kayak Jack. What else we got? All right, Bass AF 817. How would you assess the future of bass fishing, given all the success the rookies have been having lately?
Yep.
I think it's great. I think it's great. I hope that my hope is that it encourages more high school and college anglers to get active and be like, man, these younger guys are doing it. They're whooping up on these old guys. Like, I can do it too. So I hope that encourages more people to participate in tournaments because, dude, in the last couple of years, just general weekend tournament participation is down. And I think that, a lot of people are like, oh, is it forward facing sonar? No, it's not that. It's a combination of like 10 different things that are all not helping the fact that we're just not getting as much participation, whether it's inflation. I think that's a big factor in it. Other things that people are doing are more popular. Social media is driving some of the demand to diminish a little bit, but I think the future is bright. Like the future, we might be through the golden age of bass fishing, I feel like, but that doesn't mean it's going to be bad. Like that doesn't mean it's going to be poo-poo. It's going to evolve. I don't know. It's kind of like NASCAR. NASCAR went through its golden age with with Dale Earnhardt and all those guys, dude. It was that was the freaking peak, man. That was the bomb. And like Ike and Ellie and I talk about it. Like we are like, dude, we started fishing when it was the golden age, like during the ESPN years, and Denny Brower and Kevin Van Dam duking it out, and Ike and Ellie duking it. Like, dude, that whole time period was just, looking back on it while still being involved in it, is pretty wild that it was so badass at that time. It was so cool.
So break out your crystal ball for us. What does bass fishing look like in, not your actual crystal ball in the back? I see it back there. That's really, he put all his crystals off to the side while he's in the green room. I saw him doing that. What does bass fishing look like in 5-10 years, in your opinion? Like, what are the trends that you see? What should we expect?
So this is interesting. I love this question because probably in the last 2 to 3 years, let's say up until this fall, I didn't know what the hell is gonna happen, honestly, because it seemed like the MLF and the BPT was losing some steam to where they were kind of gonna like shrink back to a formidable existence. Like, not like they're not going away. It's not what I'm saying. But like they really were kind of expanding, and it looked like they were really going to become big. And then they started slaughtering their own people to be able to have a small field. And then it was like it just kind of got awkward. And so I think they're going to exist in like their own little piece. And I say that because we need competition in bass fishing. That's when bass fishing is its best. In that golden age I was talking about, FLW came out and was just firing money out like Yosemite Sam, and Bassmaster's like, oh yeah, well look at this, we got ESPN, we got all their money, and they started throwing around money, and that was a lot of what. Plus we had all those legends still involved, but so I felt like BPT and MLF are shrinking a little bit to a good, fun to watch existence. Bassmaster Elite Series, the last handful of years, has really been trying to figure out how we operate happily. internally, and I think that in the last year we've kind of gotten there. I think we're kind of getting there to where we're kind of going along, but then we're not getting that pressure of BPT because when that split happened like 7 years ago, whatever it was, dude, that put a lot of pressure on Bass. Man, they stepped their game up. They really got aggressive, and so I'm like, as of a couple of months ago, I'm like, well, who's going to put pressure on anybody? Like they're both kind of like falling into their own comfort zone. Bassmaster's trying to grow and trying to do some different things. They're really trying. They really are. And then all of a sudden, this dual threat thing comes out, which we recently found out is a scam.
Oh god, so, I knew it was coming.
Whatever, but that okay, I thought we were going to have some competition, but I guess not. Now we got that dude from the bird guy from down in Texas that's putting together that $1 million, $1.25 billion first place tournament in at Old Hickory later this fall. So it's like, okay, this is cool again. This is what gets headlines in virtual newspapers anymore, but this is what gets social media headlines. Dude, somebody's going to win $1.25 million. Hopefully that's not a scam, because if it's not, which I don't think it is, dude, that could be big. I mean, as far as the sport goes, that is what's going to run on USA Today in their sports section. You're like, hey, some bass fisherman just won $1.25 million in this tournament.
What's the largest payout?
Yeah, what's that?
What's the largest payout?
Used to be instant millionaire for their Forrest Wood Cup. They had it for a couple of years. It was $1 million and like 500,000 per second. Like it was wild.
They stepped up the game, and then Bassmaster stepped up their game, and then but yeah, like they're kind of are both not shrinking, but like in their own realm. Like they're both putting good money out there to where guys can win good money. Yeah. For a sustainable business model, I think.
Yeah.
But but when you get this 1.25, dude, that is so good for the whole sport. It's going to benefit Bassmaster. It's going to benefit BPT, and maybe it puts a little bit more pressure on them. They're like, wow, damn, we can't have this other Wildcat tournament making more money for our guys than we're making for them in like 3 years or a career. So I don't know. I think it'll be good overall. We need a little bit of competition and keep it going.
Yeah.
So I think in the next 3 to 5, in 5 years, maybe we get 1 or 2 more players to kind of come in and kind of rile things up a little bit. And I think that a lot of live fishing, if we can get more live streaming, I think that's going to really help. And then I think we need to make the whole interaction more fan friendly. Every tournament needs to be more fan friendly, and I think that's where it's going to go.
Does live streaming become an issue because you got these tournament trails that have sponsorships, and then you get all these individuals who also have their own personal sponsorships, and when they live stream, people are just going to watch their favorite angler, and it's going to really edge out the sponsors for the entire trail, right? And so
that's the fear. That's the fear, and that's why they have exclusivity on live streaming.
Right.
But I don't know if you've seen some of the stuff that in the first 2 tournaments on the Bassmaster, but they're putting live cameras in a few of the boats and kind of refining the process of how that's going to work, because they want to continue to grow that to where maybe in next year that we have 15 live cameras per day, and then the next year we grow it to 30. And if guys want to, because some of the guys are using their own live equipment to stream on, but it all has to funnel through Bassmaster.
Got it.
Yeah. Oh.
He gone. The crazy thing is like he's still there, but he's not there.
Yeah. Whenever his camera shut off. I think that golden era was like the only way to get your fishing fix was through ESPN and was through FLW and things like that. So if I wanted to watch fishing, I had to go to ESPN, I had to go to FLW. And now if I want to watch bass fishing, I type in bass fishing on YouTube and I get 500 million search results.
Right. He's back.
Sorry, my daughter that's in college tried to FaceTime us, and we're on the cloud, so I don't know why it cut me off. But anyway,
it's all right.
I was saying that I think in time when you get more of those live streams, it's like it's going to be nonstop entertainment. There's going to be nonstop fish catches. It's going to be kind of a nightmare to produce all that on the back end. But I think in time, once there's so many guys, like they're going to have to let some of them go out to YouTube and some other places. And when that happens, I think we'll draw more people in. Because I mean, all the biggest influencers out there right now are all live streamers.
Yeah.
So if we're not live, if I'm a full-time pro angler and I don't have missile baits and all that kind of stuff, I'm streaming every week. I'm live streaming every week.
Yeah.
Why some of these guys aren't, I don't understand, but
So that's a question I have for you, John, because I know you're also on YouTube. I see your videos out there when I type in things. Is it even possible anymore to be a professional angler and not be a content creator? Is that something that essentially companies who are sponsors really require?
If you want to, a lot of sponsors require it.
Yeah.
And if you're not having some type of influence to where you're creating content to benefit your sponsors, whether it's Mercury or whoever, then you gotta play the game. Like it's a second job in order to continue to fish.
Yeah, no, I get it. You got Seth over here. I gotta ask. Seth used to be my co-host, and then he moved out to Texas. Now he's catching donkeys out there. His question is: do you think the elites lack personalities for fans to follow? ? Or maybe Bassmaster doesn't highlight personalities as much anymore?
I think that is a fantastic question, because I think that is what is one of the things that they're missing. I mean, you can't have less personality than Matt Robertson. Like that dude's he's like that nonstop all the time you ever talk to him. He can be kind of serious occasionally.
Yeah.
But the dude's got and occasionally he's got terrible judgment, but he's really a smart guy. He really is. And he'll admit too that he's got terrible judgment from time to time. But he doesn't care. He makes a decision and he goes with it, and that's just what he does. But there's a lot of guys that they haven't kind of come out of their shell. I feel like they're still kind of shy, and they really haven't come out of their shell. And they're actually very interesting people, but they haven't opened up. And I think when they're fishing, they're still just locked in on fishing, and they haven't figured out how to be themselves on camera. I mean, you got the guys like, Brock Mosley. I mean, he's been around. Like he puts on kind of a show when he catches the fish.
Right.
But that's him, dude. Brock is super intense. He was a college baseball player, very competitive, and when he catches a good one, he is. There is no doubt he's excited. So that kind of stuff is gonna, I think, come out more in the guys once they, really kind of get comfortable being on camera and get comfortable being themselves. I'd been around Easton Fothergill a fair amount, and I talked with him a fair amount. He's always been very shy, very timid, very calculated. Dude, his girlfriend was on the dock at Gunnersville, and I saw a little bit of a side of him I'd never really seen before. Like he was kind of cutting up with her and like joking and smiling. I'm thinking, that's what I need. I need more of that, dude. That's the dude I need. I don't want easy E. I want like excited E.
Oh, I hear you.
Yeah. I think they'll come around. Yeah. More personalities is definitely. I watched the thing last weekend on Dale Earnhardt Senior. Whew, there were some freaking characters at that point, and that was when like I said, NASCAR was at its peak, and dude, there was some dudes right then.
I like it. All right, we've got some more comments over here from the comment section, so we will head over here real quick. From Scott Vermonter 920. Will you ever do another run of Debo Surprise in the baby D-bomb color? Love that color.
We ran it for that. I think it was for Monster Bass, maybe.
Yep.
I think it was a collab with them, and it was just kind of an exclusive color for them. So any kind of exclusive color, we would always check with the person that created it. So we'd have to check with Debo and see if he would do that again. But we'd really need a retailer to kind of like partner with us to
pick that up.
Do that. Like we would probably not make it an inline color out of respect for that deal.
Sure. Here's another question for you from T-Sol5. I didn't forget about you, T-Sol. I see he wrote it there at 9:05, and a couple minutes later wrote it again. I'll get around to him. Hey, John, is your line of Cash and Rods getting an update? Now, really quick, before you answer that question, I was at Cash and Rods literally the day before I came in your shop, John, and did a video, and that thing's been popping. It's like 85,000 views on like a 45-minute like short film. So if you don't know how fishing rods are made, from literally the pre-preg to making their own blanks all the way to out the door, you got to watch that video. It was actually wildly impressive. And during that time, of course, you see the John Cruz series, the red grips on it. So are they getting an update?
There's cool new stuff coming from Cashin. It's in the works. I think that one of the cool things is coming at the Classic, I believe. Last I heard, that was the case. So yes, there are some cool things coming. And to be honest with you, I don't know when that update for the John Cruz line is coming. I can't give you the exact date because I don't know the exact date, but it's we're always working on stuff, and we do have some cool stuff coming within the next month. Yes.
Yeah. And I got a sneak peek at what you're referring to, John, and it's pretty freaking sweet. Obviously, promised I wouldn't share about it, but it's exciting news coming out of Cashin. Big fan of the role. What do you love most about it? How long have you been connected with Cashin? I'm curious.
We've been connected for we'd be probably approaching 15 years, right around that.
So that's from like the beginning, right? Because Cashin is not much older than that.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I met Matt at his very first show that he did. I was working the Raleigh Fishing Expo.
Okay.
And he had a 10x10 booth.
All right.
And I went over and introduced myself to him, shook his hand. I said, "Hey man, John Cruz, just, I looked at his rods. I was like, man, these are really cool. I like the yellow pattern. That's different. It's going to stand out. I like it. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep refining. Keep making it better. Look for, I'll see you around. Holler if I can help you, whatever." Then at the time I had a rod sponsor, and the next year saw him at some shows, talked to him again, just, being friends. And then the following year, I think, or maybe in that year, the second year of us kind of knowing each other, he said, "Man, if you ever are looking for a rod sponsor, let me know."
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Okay." Sure enough, the end of that year, I called him, and I had it was between him and another company that I had a friend at, and the two of them, I kind of went financially. The deals were similar, and I just felt like it was outing rods in his garage, and dramatically. He wanted to expand quite a bit. He's going to get his own facility. He wanted to start doing, more manufacturing, eventually make the blanks and all that. I'm like, yeah, this is a company I know, helped them tremendously from, introducing them to buyers and different design, product. I mean, when I first got associated with Cashin, he was very analytical, and he got on me for not knowing the blank numbers.
Like the tonnage?
Like, I don't know what 853 versus 904 is. I don't know. I was like, and nobody else is sponsoring you. You need to know what that is. I said, I don't need to know what it is because nobody else is going to know what it is. 761 blank. They're going to be like, and so that's why when we started the John Cruz, and so I gave him a list of rods that for whatever drop shot, we need to do this. I want to do a counterbalance. Why don't we just do a signature series? I was like, I'm going to be a signature, then we're not going number rod. Like and so that's what we went with a lot of their other line as well.
So what's the big difference between the Icon and the Jitter?
It's the same blank.
Right.
The appearance is a little bit different, but that's not one of the two differences. Are the components in the guides. It's an upgraded guide system, and then about half of the John Cruz in the bottom of them, and we balanced them just right. So like that drop shot rod, wherever you hold that spinning rod in your front finger, the rod perfectly balances. So you don't have to work to lift to hold the rod up as you're fishing that drop shot. And it's also a great Neko rig rod because you're keeping that rod tip up and you don't have to work to hold it up. And so that's a big the two big differences right there is the components. And then going forward, I can just tell you, components are going to be the difference between the John Cruz and the regular Icons as well.
Yeah. So what type of componentry are you upgrading? Like, what are people getting?
So if you go to buy guides for a rod, there's like, depending on the guide maker, it's like 6 or 8 different grades.
Got
so
it.
you can get like the Natty Light version, or you can get like the Budweiser version, or that you can get like the craft beer version.
There you go.
Like the super high end guides. So you can get the different variations based on it is you get what you pay for. So it's just higher grade components that are involved with it.
I love it. Well, if you got a question for John, we're at an hour. We usually go about an hour 15. Go ahead and throw that in the comment section. I'll circle back in just a moment. But I want to go in a deep, dark rabbit hole over here to your website because there's some stuff over here that we have not yet talked about. So head over here. Let me head out of where should I go, Wyatt? We got the baits, we got terminal tackle, we got missile jigs, we got best sellers. What should I click on? What should we talk about?
I know the terminal tackle. You got the ring jig in there. So I got some of the new stuff.
All right, let's take a look at the eye roll.
Dude, that we have sold a lot of those this year. A lot. That thing has really kind of underground caught on, and if guys aren't fishing it, they don't know what they're missing. I designed it specifically to be able to hold regular plastic or TPE type minnows. So whatever you want to fish a Z-Man or mooch minnow or something like that, put them on there. They'll stay on there all day. They won't spin. And then that little welded ring on there, it makes them a little more expensive. But that welded ring, dude, you don't have to tie a loop knot. You can go 12, 14 pound leader, and then that thing is still that minnow is still gonna rock back and forth. But also, when that bait is falling, it's gonna fall faster because it gives it a hinge point. So the bait doesn't like drift when it's falling. It falls to get down to their level. But then when you put a little bit of pressure on it, that jig head goes right back to straight, and then it has that action.
Okay,
I like it. Let's go and move on down to the hover missile.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look at that! That's your logo in there. Well done.
Speaking of Quickie Ball, that's what a lot of the guys were using on that.
Really?
Yep.
Okay, little toothpick for reference here. So walk people through who may be listening and can't see what we're seeing.
Yeah, the hover missile, it's made for mid strolling. You can put like a spunk shad on it and do that mid strolling technique, which is a very finesse technique. You have to rig the bait just right, and in my opinion, ours is probably the easiest to rig. But and then the little hole in the toothpick for the fin is to lock that bait in there. So once you finally get that SOB rigged straight, you can put that toothpick through there and then break it off, and then it'll kind of stay locked in there, and you can fish it all day. But what was transpired in the last year is the Quickie and the other fuzzy dice style baits have come out, and you can take that Quickie ball and thread it up on there, and then either put the toothpick through it or just thread it up on there and fish it just like that, especially the 13 and the 17 millimeter. It's kind of low key slick, and then and it's got a Gamakatsu hook on it, so you're not going to get any better hook.
John, take us somewhere on your website that is the most underrated bait in your opinion that doesn't give the fanfare that you believe it should.
Magic worm, 100%.
All right, where's that at? Over on missile baits?
Under baits, yeah.
Magic worm?
Mini magic worm.
There it is.
A handful of years ago, I ran into Mark, who he was the general manager of RoboWorm. I was talking to him at a show, and we were talking, and he said something about OEM work. And I said, OEM, y'all do OEM work? He's like, well, we do some OEM work for Japanese manufacturers, but we don't do anything in the US. I said, would you like to? And he said, sure. So next thing, I think it was the next week, I sent him a drawing of the magic worm. I was like, dude, this is exactly what I want in a robo worm, texture and color and robo worm style colors and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And so Greg Stump, the guy that founded robo worm, he refined the design and got it so it would work in their molds. And lo and behold, that's how we started. We did a mini one, which doesn't sell quite as much, but still a really kick-ass little bait.
Yeah.
And, but that big one, man, the 6-inch one, I fished that on a drop shot. I fish it sometimes I fish it on a Neko rig, but shaky head and a drop shot, that thing is filthy.
Are those salted? Do those have salt in them, or are those just the salt on the bottom like a robo worm? Do those float?
So there's only salt on the first third of that.
So it'll stand up whenever. Yeah.
It's not. It doesn't have flotation to it, but the robo worms are not salt. They have very little. Very little filler in them, so they're fairly buoyant. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got Chad Hoover over here in the comments saying, whatever you do not get the Freedom Flyers. They don't work. Avoid them at all costs.
Yeah,
all
he
right.
doesn't want anybody to fish anywhere near where he is with them because he wants to have them all to himself.
There they are, folks. The Freedom. Am I on it? Freedom Flyer?
Yep.
There we go.
Yeah.
You got the 4.25.
So I'll tell you the quick story about the Freedom Flyers. That I was trying to figure out how to make a minnow roll better.
Mm-hmm.
And the Sakamata shad's been around for a couple years now. Dude, I had the a Japanese guy gave me a bag of Sakamata shads like 5 years ago, and I feel like a moron because I never figured out how to use it. But anyway, I wanted to figure out like how do I make it roll easier, and it took me like 6 months of I had all kind of different minnows, just studying them, trying to figure it out, and I figured out, man, I was like, we need to put I call them elevators because that's what you call them on an airplane. Like, man, we need to put these elevators on the back, not on the front. Like the front is like they put that on the front because they were trying to make a fluke that would stay up on the surface and jump for herring. Like that's why they designed the Sakamata shad like they did.
Okay.
It was not made to roll on a jig head. They figured that out later. So I was like, man, the ones on the back, that'll make that thing roll. Like the tail is going to wag the dog, so to speak, on the action. Well, when I presented it to one of our regular mold makers, he's like, man, I can't cut those angles. Like nobody with a CNC machine is going to be able to cut those angles to make that.
This right here, this little lip back here.
Yeah, he said nobody can cut those angles with a regular CNC machine. I was like, all right. So then, lo and behold, just as luck would have it, another friend of mine that does a lot of bait design had a patent on creating 3D printed cavities for injection molding.
Okay.
So that's what we used, and the Freedom Flyer is the first bait to ever use that technology of 3D printed molds to make soft plastic fishing lures, and that's what we got the 6-inch version coming out right before the classic. They're in production right now, so that's the 4 1/4 that you're looking at now. The 6 inches coming out very soon, and dude, that 6 inches is absolutely nasty, and I can just tell you right now, I'm gonna be throwing it at the classic. Like it's gonna happen.
All right.
I need to get my hands on some of those.
Yeah, so that's kind of a little quick story behind that.
Now, when we were getting ready to start the show, there's a lot of people to hop on and they'll, write comments before the thing even starts. And someone was like, hey, I love the Bomba. And so let's head over to the Bomba because I love a good poop bait. I'll be honest with you. I'm a big fan. So walk us through your thought, design. I'm a big Yamatanuki fan. And so I've never actually had my hands on a Bomba before, but I specifically remember you launching it at iCast or something, and then you catching a fish at the pond at iCast on the Bomba. Like it showed up on my feed, and for whatever reason that is burned into my brain.
it was one of the best baits we've had at that pond and at the ICAST show. Is that Bomba? We caught probably more on that than about anything else. But that Bomba, dude, it's a good little bait. I mean, I've caught a bunch of fish on it. I wanted because I fished the depths one, and I didn't. There were some things I didn't like about
The
it.
cover scat.
The cover scat, it sinks really fast. So if you're trying to fish it in less than like 5 feet of water, it's almost like it's too heavy. And
it's heavy. It's dense. That's for
it's
sure.
not, but it's not made for that. It's made for fishing deeper rocks. Like that's what they designed it for. And that style of bait, the cover scat was not the original scat style bait. The original was called the Patate, which was made by a company called Biwa, which was a French company.
Okay.
And dude, that thing caught on like wildfire in Japan because they were fishing it. This is funny because it all goes full circle. They were fishing it as a weedless Ned rig.
Okay.
So the Patate was the original, because it was made up. They called it Patate because I think that's French for potato. I'm not positive on that, but I think it is. And so they were fishing it as a weedless Ned rig, just a EWG hook on it, and fishing it on the bottom, just like you fish a Ned rig, but it was weedless. And that thing really caught on in Japan. So the cover scat is a spawn of that, and they tweaked it a little bit, made it a little denser to fish it deeper. And then I wanted one to be able to fish a little bit shallower, and so that's what we did the Bomba. I thought that technique and that whole genre was really going to take off, and then it just kind of, you might say, get flushed down the toilet.
Hey yo, well done, well done.
Dude, I'm all about some dad jokes.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I need to get my hands on these. All right, where should we go next, John? What are some things that you wish more people would know
the shredder.
about?
Go the shredder.
The shredder? All right, Wyatt picked it. Where's the shredder?
Well, the shredder was a really cool bait design that we helped tweak and get right. And then the mold, the bait is being made. The mold is essentially broke, and no other mold manufacturer will touch it.
He's got one.
I got a bag full when I was at Missile Baits.
I told you
John
to grab them while you could.
A pile of them, and he explained to me it broke. I was like, oh man, these are going to be worth like tens of dollars in a year and a half, and no one can get them anymore.
That's right.
I love it. No, I can't wait to throw this in the river, to be completely honest with you.
Yep.
Throw a little
absolutely
on that, and then oh man, that's instant eat.
Speaking of the river, probably one of the most underrated baits that we actually sell a fair amount of is are the micro jigs. But the micro and the micro football, dude, we sell a pretty reasonable amount of those, and we're actually coming out with a micro football HD, like a little heavier hook, a little bit bigger hook, and a little thicker skirt. That'll be coming out here probably next 2 months.
Nice.
All right.
Give me on some jigs now.
I know. Wyatt loves some jig fishing here.
Oh, dude, that thing is it's filthy in the rivers on them smallmouth. Just they can't help it.
Awesome.
But the mini flip is tried and true. Like Lake Martin Elite last week, Iaconelli caught that 5.3 that he caught was on a green pumpkin 1/2 ounce mini flip. Boat flipped it, just hurled it right in the boat. So it's still catching donkeys. It's tried and true. I've caught 9.3 is my biggest fish on a mini flip. Iaconelli's caught 1/10. I have the picture of it that he caught on a mini flip. So it catches big ones too, for sure.
All right.
That's awesome.
Wyatt, where should I go next?
On that one.
Bestsellers. Take a look at your bestsellers. I am curious over here. Oh, you got hard baits.
Got some.
Yep.
There was a collab with Phony Frog in there for a while.
Yeah, that shouldn't really. That's not a bestseller. I don't know why. Somebody actually accidentally tagged it, I guess.
Oops. All right, what else we got here? Anything else not get the fanfare that you think it should, John?
The mini D chunk is very overlooked. The mini D chunk is perfect for the mini flip and the mini swim jig. But if guys are throwing that baby structure jig, it is it's a perfect fit on that too. So any of those kind of compact, smaller flipping jigs, that the mini D chunk is pretty badass. Do we sell a lot of the chunky Ds as well? It's kind of like the adult version of the mini D chunk.
Okay. So
I want to know where the monster jig came from.
Ike and Ellie and I, we were like, we went micro, so then we wanted to go monster.
I mean, that thing is massive.
We went so big, we went straight to muskie. It's like, in what was that movie? The movie with oh my God, the Mel Brooks movie where he's like, we need to go faster. He's like, oh, we're gonna go. We went straight to plaid.
Spaceballs, ludicrous
Spaceballs,
speed.
Yeah, that's like we went all the way past Mega. We went to Monster. We went past Bass and we went straight to Muskie. Because we started selling so many of those things to Muskie, and we had to make a couple of Muskie colors. Now we got black and orange and Fire Tiger.
Yep.
Well, we are at almost pushing 90 live right now. So if you have not yet done so, please hit the like button. We'll be landing this plane in just a little bit. But John, really quick here, off of missile baits, what's your favorite plastic that you have that's not missile baits? Do you actually fish non-missile baits anymore? Because I know a guy that owns a company.
I fish. I mean, you have to get inspiration and to kind of like understand what makes baits do what.
Yeah.
I fish all kind of different plastics. I do. I mean, it depends on what technique it is. Like, but for drop shot fishing, I'm fishing a magic worm, bro. That's like, I'll put it up against anything. But as far, we don't have a toad at the moment. We're working on some different stuff. I've been researching and playing with stuff for about a year. We don't have it dialed in yet, but yeah, so I still fish a horny toad some. I really like the top toad. That's a good toad.
I feel like there's going to be a dice and a grub coming out soon.
The dice are interesting. We're going to do a little collab. I like kind of let the bag out of the cat right here, but at McKee Outdoors, there's a guy named Jake that makes these. He calls them stupid, dumb fish balls, and they are. Yeah. They sell a lot of them down there because they catch fish, and we're collabing with them for the classic. We're gonna do a live minnow color because that's our best selling Freedom Flyer color. Okay. So I was like, dude, if you can make that thing in live minnow, I said, can you make it that color and like match our color? And he's like, can you make a shoe stink? And I was like, yeah, let's do this. So we're doing it. We're going to do it. We'll have a bunch of those at the classic. So people can come out of the classic and get their missile live minnow colored stupid dumb fish ball.
All right. I'm going to be at the classic this year. I'm excited about that. It's my first time at the classic, so it should be good. Wyatt, are you going to be down there?
Yep. Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there Friday.
All right.
Yep. Hopefully all day Friday, but.
Oh yeah.
All right, we're going to end this with the lightning round. Johnny, you ready? Got 5 questions for you. First thing that comes to your mind.
Dude, let's do this. All
right, most overrated bass bait.
Overrated bass bait?
Yeah.
God, there's so many good ones.
Overrated, not underrated.
I know. That's what I'm saying. There's so many that are legit and real and good. I think, man, it's tough. I would say a trick worm, even though the trick worm is a fantastic lure. It's just people act like it's the end all be all. Maybe. All right. I don't know. That's a tough one, dude. I mean, you can't say a buzzbait, spinnerbait, jig, spook.
You can say whatever
what are you
want.
Gonna say? They're all good. Yeah, they're all good.
Yeah. Most underrated bass bait.
Underrated probably is a jig. That's probably the most underrated. People still don't know the power, dude. That thing it's so good.
I can't tell you how many people in the comment section after I do a jig, it's like, oh, I've never caught a fish on a jig. I can't catch fish on a jig. It's like, bro, once you start catching
Jig.
fish on a jig,
Jig.
I've
your
been there.
life is about to change.
Oh, absolutely.
What were you going to say, Wyatt?
No, I say I got like jig over there. There's one on top of that trophy. There's jig on top of every single one of these trophies.
Wyatt wins tournaments on jigs. That is his money maker. And I have a feeling I know the answer to the next question. I'm going to ask it anyways. One bait every angler should learn to fish better. Not a jig, because we just covered that.
Drop shot.
Yeah, I'll be honest. That's something that I pull out every once in a while, but not very often.
I'm surprised at the number of anglers I talk to at shows that are like, man, I hardly ever throw that. I'm like, dude, then what do you throw? Like, what are you throwing out there?
Next question for you. Confidence bait if money is on the line, which a lot of time money is on the line for you.
The easy answer is what I just said is a drop shot. I mean,
really,
I had, like 2 years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, every tournament that I placed in the top 50, I caught at least half of my fish on a drop shot. And it was the magic worm. It was the year the magic worm came out. I caught like half of my fish in every tournament that I came in the top 50 on the magic worm. Like the thing was just hauling in bass after bass. It was stupid.
I like it. Well, John, last question of the night. What can we expect from missile bait? You did tickle a little bit earlier that you're working on 5 things. Now, granted, you might not be able to talk about those 5 things, but generalities. What can we look forward to coming out of missile? Maybe some things that you plan on doing new this year. What do you got for us?
So I told you about the little micro football HD. That's going to be really slick. I cannot wait to get that in my own hands to fish with. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be fishing with it quite a bit as soon as I get it. That is one. We're working on a collab buzzbait with a company.
Ooh, there we go.
And that's like very well built, badass hook. Like nobody's using the hook we're using. So that's going to be pretty cool. Working on a couple plastics. We got the Freedom Flyer coming. Before the 6-inch one's coming before the Classic. We have 2 new colors that are also coming at the Classic of Freedom Flyers. One of them is a standard you have to have for a minnow. The other one, I promise you've not seen it in a minnow ever before. So
all right,
there you go.
I like it. Well, folks, that's a wrap tonight. John, appreciate your time, brother. Thanks for coming on.
I appreciate you having me on.
We'll have to have you circle back again, and we'll have you on the show sometime. Bring you back, awesome. Get you in the rotation. Well, yes, thank you, John. Thank you, Wyatt. Thank you, everyone, for listening in. And we'll see. We'll be back on again next week. So I will see you next Tuesday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern on the Kayak Fishing Obsessed podcast. Y'all have a good one. Yep.